We've got a ballistics solution app on my...
Tuna grounds are on the ocean, Tommy. We're going to do that. Don't go anywhere.
We've got all the great fish that make great fish and chips.
Yeah, good point. Hey, good evening and welcome Fish on Northwest, Duane, England, Tommy, Donlin, take two.
Take two.
Take
Let's try this again.
Yeah, we're going to try this again. A little technical difficulty. None to worry. We got her up and going now. The beard is on it. And I want to welcome everybody back to the show. We are going to, so last week we were talking about the rain accumulation and how it affects the rivers and where to go for information and kind of watch as your rivers go up and down, an opportunity. And then you look at lost video again, completely just buffering now. Doggone it.
I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on either. Okay, well, Tommy, are you able to pull that up? We're gonna stay live here. We're just gonna try to sort this out. Video keeps pausing. Not sure what's happening.
Buffering. We have a weak internet connection right now, even though it's saying full bar, it's bad quality.
Which connection are you on?
Motors to fishing tackle and bait. Defiance Marine has certified technicians that are top-notch at their job. Some of the best in the Pacific Northwest at evaluating your boat issues and problems. Stop in today or give us a call for all your needs at Defiance Marine.
Today, the need for quality private security services is at an all-time high. Contract Security Service provides day-to-day peace of mind as they protect people and property. Here at Phoenix, we provide service for multiple state and federal contracts with services ranging from uniform, patrol, alarm monitoring, canine detection, executive protection, as well as investigative work. Phoenix client management models are built on understanding our clients' security needs and responding with a tailored program that is best fit for them. Phoenix provides excellent customer service through well-trained, highly motivated security professionals. Recruiting highly qualified officers is the first step in building a strong team. Currently, we are comprised of 70% prior law enforcement and military veterans. If you are prior military or law enforcement, go to www.phoenixprotectivecorps.com and apply today.
Hey, welcome back in studio, Fish on Northwest, Duane, England, Tommy, Donlin. We're trying to resolve our connectivity issues, just making you aware. We're going to continue to do the show. It looks like something on the Comcast side of things with the weather that has blown in, perhaps not giving us our usual and accustomed upload speed, Tommy, is what it sounds like. So we'll just keep it moving along here and see how we do. So I want to welcome everybody back to the show. Again, we are live, so we are going to run into that from time to time. No big deal. Running down the show tonight, Tommy, we got a heck of a lot of info to cover, as we mentioned kind of in the opener. Danny Stonedahl, River Chrome Guide Service. I don't know if you know Danny. Jordan and I have fished with Danny in the past. Outstanding young man, great guide. And have you been paying attention to what's going on in the Skagit?
I've heard a little bit about it.
Lots of coho in the Skagit. Holy smokes, Danny's on it, and stick around because he's going to tell you exactly how you too can get up there and be successful. Now, a little something I threw out on Facebook earlier in the week, Tommy, looking for input, riverbank and boat etiquette. This is one that folks want to see. They seem to want to talk about. Okay,
it's going to be a heated battle.
It's everything we love and hate about fall salmon fishing. We're here to tell you, and in a nutshell, it's just, can't we all just get along, right? Yeah. Can't we all just get out and enjoy the day? So stick around for that, because that is going to be
a good one.
Good content. And if you are sitting here tonight viewing this, as we entertain that discussion, please feel free, jump on here and throw some comments in. We'd like to hear from you what it is you think is important in regards to river and boat etiquette out there on the rivers. Jason Phelps, friend of ours, Tommy, for sure. Jason Phelps, Phelps Game Calls. What do you think it would be like to hunt with Steve and Rinella?
You know, I'd be okay hunting with Steve, but my biggest fear is that he's going to make me eat whatever he makes, right?
Yeah, so I'm out on the coyote. But that being said, Jason has become good friends with and business partners with Rinella and his clan. So they did a little jaunt down in New Mexico.
Yeah.
A little bull elk hunt. And two bulls down. Going to get Jason on the phone later on here in the show. He's on the road to Montana, heading out for another hunt, but we're going to pin him down and get the updates and find out what that hunt was all about down in New Mexico. Looking forward to that. Ballistics Tommy, preparation for the fall hunt, whether it's deer, elk, bear, whatever, mountain lion, ballistics are key.
Absolutely.
Okay, we're busting out the ballistics lab tonight with our very own Tommy Donlin. Have you been getting ready? And if you haven't, Tommy's going to school you up on exactly what you should be doing and how important it is to get dope, okay? Along with that, we have a handful of other topics we will be closing out the show with, some news bulletins and updates, and the likes. Along with that, hey, want to remind everybody, Tommy, we've launched our new podcast.
We did, yes.
Fish on Northwest podcast is now obtainable weekly. Every Friday morning, we will release our relevant and new content that we record previously the night before, Thursday. So if you don't have time to catch our entire show, want to get the interview portions, in-studio guests, phone interviews, segments with our content driven by Tommy and I, these discussions we'll have tonight is podcastable.
Yeah, well, and it's a great, Friday morning, Friday afternoon commute to work. I have a long commute.
Yeah.
And I certainly enjoy a good podcast.
Absolutely.
So, and with my commute, I could listen to probably 2 of them.
Yeah. So you'll find us on Apple Podcasts, Google, iHeart, Spotify, Stitcher, all the platforms. We upload through a single platform of where we land our work, and it gets dispersed out, coming to you each and every week with new, fresh, live, relevant content right here from the studio. Please check it out. Go to one of those platforms. Subscribe on there, get in touch with us, and listen to our weekly podcast. So I want to make sure folks are aware of that. Other than that, we were kind of alluding to earlier before the break, this rain that has fallen has kind of put a wrinkle in our plans for a little bit.
Yeah.
I want to fish tomorrow. I want to fish Saturday. I want to fish Sunday. We're going to get you out in a drift boat. We're going to get you drowning guts under a bobber, as Herzog would say.
Yep.
Eggs. We're going to get you twitching jigs. We're going to get you casting spinners. We're going to do all the norms that we like to do on our tributary opportunity when it comes to Chinook and Coho, and have a good time doing it. Going to put you in the front of that drift boat and see how I can navigate downriver when I'm trying to look past a barn door. But beside that, we're going to find our way downriver, going to get you into what it is we enjoy on these tributary fisheries. As the rivers drop a little bit again, as mentioned earlier, it's not so much about the volume right here. The volume doesn't concern me at all. I like the volume. It's good. The
just the clarity.
Got to get a little clarity.
Yep.
We can go fish in the mud. We could drop wrapped plugs on some of these drifts and sit on anchor or move down through a slot and work these fish and put it right in front of their nose and more than likely catch fish. But I want to expose you to, we wait one more day. The river drops another 300, 400, 500 feet.
It's going to be primo.
Yeah, we get that. Yeah. We get that little bit of green coming back to it, 2 to 4. 2 feet of visibility would be great. 4, 6 feet of visibility. It opens up your whole world. Now we have opportunity to deploy all different types of techniques.
I'm looking forward to it. I've never done any of this. I've never even jumped in a drift boat before.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure a drift boat would float with me in it. So we're going to find out.
We're going to give the Riv Tech its run for its money, that's for sure. I think you'd be okay. When I was guiding, I literally had, do I dare say, a couple 350 pounders in the boat one day.
Oh yeah, that's bigger than me. Yeah,
I was working my ass off. I'm not going to lie. That was one to look back on and think never again. So
that's back when you had the big pipes.
That's back when I was young and strong, right? And so anyhow, looking forward to that. We will get out on the water. It's just a matter of which day or a couple days, and we're going to have an outstanding time. There's a lot of fish coming. The river, what's funny is if you look at the forecast, we're going to get dumped on today. We knew that. Mm-hmm. Now you look at the long range forecast. There's not a lot of rain in the forecast for 10 days. So 10 days from now, when all you guys are complaining like, oh my God, it's so low and clear, I can't get any fish, they're going to be there. You just got to figure out how to get them. They're going to be asking for rain. It's like, man, we need some rain. Well, we had rain. Now you just got to deal with it.
Time it correctly.
Yep. And the temperatures as we get deeper in fall will continue to get cooler at night. It tends to get your rivers to drop even more, get clarity back in. Mm-hmm. It becomes a different game when you go from 2 feet of visibility and the fish feel protected and they're moving all day to pocket fish in low gin clear water, because we'll get there multiple times throughout the season. That's what's so challenging about river fishing and these tributaries especially, is you get the changing conditions. You get changing conditions in the ocean, but it could be raining like it is today. You're going fishing on the ocean.
It doesn't
tomorrow,
matter, yeah.
Right? If it's not a huge blow, if it's not a small craft advisory, which keeps everybody else other than Tommy Donlin off the water.
Right. You know, oddly though, what it does affect is when you're squid fishing near a river system. So like that downtown Seattle squid fishery that we have.
Yeah.
You get a big rain and the Duwamish just starts puking out that chocolate milk water, you know?
Yeah.
And that totally affects
I can see that.
the ability to squid.
Yeah. the visibility thing.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, that's kind of what we got going on here. Stick with us through the break. We're going to jump out real quick. We come back. Danny Stonedahl, if you're not familiar with him, you need to be. The kid kills it year in and year out. River Chrome Guide Service. He's up in the Skagit watershed area. Tons of coho out there, and he's doing well. Probably taking a break on the sidelines for a couple days, as are most of us with this water clarity issue that we'll have on multiple rivers. But I'm telling you, Danny's going to get you spooled up. Couple-minute break. We'll come back right here at Fish Hunt Northwest.
Defiance Marine is the one-stop shop for the Pacific Northwest angler. Whether you are looking for a small skiff to fish the Sound or rivers, or a huge offshore tuna machine, Defiance Marine has it. At Defiance Marine, be sure to power your boat with a Honda outboard package. Take advantage of the reliability and 5-year top-to-prop warranty on your Honda outboards. Our service department is always here to help and serve you as the customer. Did you know Defiance Marine has boat financing experts to help get you the best term rates on your new boat purchase? If you need financing...
Last Sunday, and I haven't fished actually since then, so it looks like earliest it's next week, middle of the week, hopefully. It's been a while. So
okay. Well, prior to that, there seemed to be a decent number of fish around for the waters you're fishing. How would you compare it to, say, the last 2 to 3 years? Are you seeing a really good number of coho thus far, or would you put it as a mild average season going into it?
A little hard to tell. This year was weird. We had a lot of snow melt early because it was so warm.
Yeah.
So the lower river, especially, you know, where you fish that time of year a lot, it was pretty gray the whole time. And then immediately after that stopped, we've had this rain. So it's been probably the toughest September as far as getting on the water. So I can't say much about the consistency, but every day that's been good conditions, we've done really well. So I would say it's been just as good as the last couple of years. The fish have been on a pretty good upswing coho-wise. So up here anyway.
Yeah. So if you would have availability of days, as in if the conditions would allow you to fish daily, you would probably be crushing it. I mean, I've seen what you've been pulling on the days you are on the water. It's impressive.
Sure, yeah. It was, I mean, Sunday, was the best water conditions day we've had in a while, right before it rained again. And we had 10 by 10 in the morning, and we were fishing for pinks after that. So
wow. That's solid.
Yeah. That's real solid. You still got a decent number of pinks coming in. They're kind of tapering off at this point, aren't they?
They're not coming in anymore, but they stay around for a while. That's been another steelhead moving water kind of stuff like that. And I throw a lot of spinners and wigglers in that situation. Because you can cover water fast, right? And the fish they're not in like dead water yet this time of year or down in the lower river. So for the first half of the year, or when I'm fishing the lower river, you fish, spinners and wigglers and stuff you can move a lot with. If you're going to go up and fish upriver, which, the hatchery is all the way up at Marble Mount, 60 miles up the system.
Yeah.
Then your game kind of changes. Your fish are holding and staging, getting, starting to get a little color. And then I'm sure all of our favorite way to fish is twitching. So I switch over to that when you find them in the dead waters and the backwaters and stuff. So it kind of changes. And that's the same, the upriver thing, you use a lot of eggs too, so it just changes depending on the time of year and where you're fishing. So
you side drifting those eggs, bobber dogging, fishing suspended. What's kind of your go? You're on the move constantly. So how are you presenting those eggs?
Mostly suspended, like just like how you'd float fish fishing or whatever.
Yeah.
They start to stage up, up by the hatchery. So if you're a drift boat guy and you want to go upriver and fish where the fish stack up a little more, you're going to want to bring eggs and you're going to want to bring twitching jigs and target your traditional coho water. But if you're, a guy who runs a sled in the lower Snohomish or stuff like that and want to try the Skagit, you're going to want to fish spinners downriver and fish traveling water and stuff. So it's fun to, mix it up and fish different ways for them.
So what's your favorite though? I mean, if you had to pick just one, where would we find you? Would you fish that lower water, or do you like it upriver? What's your preference?
I'm a twitching guy. I like it. It was really warm the last couple days there, and the stock colored up. So I was actually worried when I got to the river this weekend. It had like maybe 10 inches of from snowmelt, and I'm like, oh, this is pushing it. So I put HOODIES on all the spinners that morning, and they said we had 3 in the first pass. So
yeah. Danny, talk a little bit about presenting that spinner, you know, for guys and gals that maybe haven't jumped on that program, haven't presented a lot of spinners for salmon, and we're in a boat moving down river, albeit if you're holding back on the sticks a little bit, slowing your drift boat down, and you have persons fishing out of your boat and you're casting that spinner. How do I present that spinner across from me? What kind of angle? How am I letting it drag through or, you know, roll through the piece of water I'm trying to target?
Yeah, so I would say the 2 most important things I see people make mistakes on is, 1, keep them low and slow. Everyone that I take on my boat starts reeling them too fast when I show them. I say casting upstream too much, like for me.
Yeah.
And after a while, I said, you know, do this a few times, and she was doing all right. But a lot of her casts would go too far upstream, and I'm thinking there's no way that's going to catch a fish. She ended up catching the first 4, reeling it like almost downstream, like, because then the blade couldn't have been spinning much because she was reeling the right speed, but it was coming so far from upstream. But I was like, I'm just going to say nothing, but she's killing it up there.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, I mean, what isn't tried won't work, right? It's what my buddy Herzog would always say, what isn't tried won't work. So you just never know. I mean, Coho are crazy anyway, let's face it. They'll hit some of the most crazy stuff at the most inappropriate times, and they'll just, some days you just blow them up, you know. I'd say it's unbelievable. But sounds like you still got a ton of fish coming. I mean, Puget Sound tends to have a good amount of fish still in it. The fish are stampeding towards the rivers now, obviously, with this rainfall. And the Coho fishing, you're open up there this time, but once he moves on out to the coast for winter steelhead, you know, we're probably going to be, and we're going to get into this here shortly because winter steelhead, to be honest, before we know it, but we'll get into it shortly about the rules of engagement when it comes to winter steelhead this year again, Tommy. Not going to be real favorable for a lot of folks, but for guys like Danny who can change it up and knows how to get his clients on fish, even if you cannot fish from within your boat, you can still have a fantastic day. So tell you what we're going to do. We're going to jump out for a quick break, couple-minute break, and we're going to try to re-spool here. I don't know. We got some connection issues, guys. We're just going to get through this show. No big deal. If nothing else, we'll reload this thing after the fact. I'm not going to really worry about it. We got some great content. We are going to attempt at the break to also track down one Mr. Jason Phelps. He is on the road to Montana, hoping that he has good connectivity, because we obviously don't, but hoping he has good connectivity out there on the highway so we can pick his brain a little bit on that New Mexico elk hunt.
Yeah, buddy. Nice fish. Oh, beauty. Gorgeous fish.
Bobby's on the board.
We got a good one.
Oh, yeah. Oh, 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 geez, come on.
Nice fish. Nice fish.
Hey, welcome back, Fish Hunt Northwest. Duane England, Tommy Donlin in studio. We are fighting through the doggone. I can't even type. Apparently, I can't even type regular words here, Tommy.
But you usually can't.
Oh,
That's not a new development.
That is not a new development. Everything else is a new development.
I'm just surprised you're not a 2-finger typer.
No, no, I'm not a hunt and pecker. Anyway.
And really get things figured out, which, you know, I don't do a ton of scouting anymore, but that really gave the entire hunt kind of a jump start.
Now you had, so Jason, you had 2 hunts there, and you had one with Lampers where it sounded like you guys had quite the grind to find his bull. So what were the primary differences between the two different hunts you had?
I mean, so the main difference is just the unit. You know, one unit's known. The hunt with Lampers was second season, typically supposed to be a better hunt.
Oh.
A unit I've actually been to before, so we thought we had it all figured out. And you know, I don't play the moon phase a bunch, but we can start to talk whether we thought the moon phase ultimately hurt it, the temperature. But where me and Steve's hunt, the bulls were going, a little longer in the day and seemed to be very callable. On the contrary, on Lamper's hunt, everything was, stopped bugling by 7:30, and they literally, you could be right on top of them. They wouldn't make a peep until 15 minutes at the end of the day. So it made it very, very difficult with very little time throughout the day to actually hunt elk.
And then the terrain that you're dealing with down there, I mean, can you kind of describe that a little bit? It's not, what you would typically think of as, your mountainous elk country, right?
Yep. So a lot of the hills are, 800 to 1,000 feet max, when you're going ridge to ridge. And so it's not big canyon country. I would call it more rolling hill country. And then the terrain is, a lot of times when I go elk hunting, I like to look at differences between, like, there's a timber stand, there's brush, there's meadows. This is like the same for as far as you can see. It's a lot of pinyon juniper. Some of the north slopes will have bigger timber, so it's a lot of rolling country that goes forever, and it never really seems to change from really short, shrubby type timber and trees. So a lot of times you can't see the elk. You can hear them bugling, but you really don't know what you're even after until they're on you. Where on Steve's hunt, a little bit different unit, we did have a lot more stands of bigger timber, a little bit better forest management where, it's obvious some stuff was burnt and replanted. And so it's just a little bit different there. But I think the main difference is where Steve and I were in the early season, there was just more elk, more bulls. A lot of times it was, one bull, 2 cows, but then 2 or 3 satellite bulls. It was almost just as many bulls as cows. So it really kept the elk talking and very competitive nature.
Yeah.
So the elk were, it seemed to be very, very callable.
What, was there a noticeable temperature difference when you were down there for first hunt versus second hunt time frame with Lampers?
They were both hot.
We
clocked in. We had the day between, Rinella killing his bull and me killing my bull, we know was 97 degrees.
Oh, wow.
So it's hot. It's, you're hunting in the morning, you're hunting at night. So you're trying to move camps, in the middle of the day. And it was just that one day was just unbearably hot. We're hunting with camp on our back. And so we're stopping. And if we don't find anything in the morning, you load everything back up and move up the mountain and try to find a new spot to camp. Very warm. Both hunts were very, very warm.
So you're down there 3 days before, you're scouting, you're putting a plan together. What did you kind of take in as far as your observations in behavioral or pattern on these elk, kind of what their normal early morning to that mid-morning routine would be, and what you realized they were doing in their behavioral patterns, if there was such a thing? Were you able to utilize that? Were you able to utilize that when you actually started hunting?
Yep. So the one nice thing on the unit that me and Lampers were in is the elk were more accessible at night. The 2 mornings I had climbed up in, once I found the elk and wanted to kind of keep a closer eye on a few certain bulls, went in there right at daylight, and the elk were already almost to bed, before it was hunting light. And so instantly I'm putting together a plan, like these things are almost non-huntable in the morning. So if we, now I'm starting to think, do we save them for a night hunt? Do we not even mess with them in the morning? All these things start to go through my head. And we just kind of decided that, when they showed up, hey, it wouldn't be that bad of an idea. Let's get all of our camera gear and everything together. Let's just plan on our very first hunt being a night hunt. And so some of that starts to affect your decision, where it just didn't seem like they were that huntable in the morning. And then we just tried to, on my 2 days scouting, I paid a ton of attention how many satellite bulls were around, which there were quite a few. One thing I noticed and keyed on right away is how aggressive the herd bull was, that we were kind of in that first group and what I thought would be a very good target bull. He would seem to leave his cows and chase a bull off 400 to 500 yards away if he needed to.
Wow.
Which starts to let me think, like, all we need to do is get the wind right, get somewhat close to his cows. And so we're just putting all of this together, like what type of elk are we dealing with? What do we think the best strategy is? And then right off the bat, that very first night in there, of course, we called him the 12 yards.
Oh my gosh.
Steve's at full draw, and it's one of those things where that bull just kind of walks around the corner, and just their sixth sense, he instantly knew, Steve was already at full draw. Everything was right, but he just instantly picks him up and whirls, before Steve's starting to squeeze on the trigger. So, we had our chance on him. And then ultimately, there were enough other elk around that we just kept hunting and were able to keep running into other elk.
Talk a little bit about call selection, right? So you're going into the situation, you know, which call do you choose, and how do you talk about the selection process? Like, why do you choose the call that you choose?
So for me, it's really just the call that I'm the most comfortable with, which is easy for me since, you know, being the owner of the company and then ultimately designing my own signature call. It was the call that I can do everything the best on for the most part. So it's a call that I'm very comfortable with loud location bugles. So as we're walking around the woods, I want to be able to get very loud, crisp location bugles and kind of start the game. Secondly, it's once we're in close, it's a call that I feel very comfortable I can make all of the sounds with, whether it's, you know, everything from a calf chirp to a mature cow to an estrus whine to an estrus buzz to any of the bugles. I can do it all from that one call, and that's where when you're kind of in the you know, in the middle of the game, you don't want to be switching in and out. So I typically will pair that diaphragm. And then this year with our new metal tube being released, and one, I wanted to put a bunch more time on it, but number two, we already kind of knew that it just sounded very, very accurate. You know, we, on a meat eater hunt, we have a bunch of people that are, you know, producers and stuff that they get to basically hide, you know, in the background during some of the call-ins. And that was one of the things in my pursuit for perfection was asking them, hey, you know, could you tell it was me? You know, what was the differences? And these guys are pretty honest, and they would have told me, and they're like, you know, very, very accurate, very close to sounding like the real thing versus, in my opinion, you know, plastic tube gives a little bit different of a resonance. Yeah. So yeah, that was a lot of times just that pink diaphragm matched up with our metal bugle tube, and it was it worked very, very well. Out of the 9 bulls that we, you know, kind of quote unquote set up on or made a play on, we called in 8 of them. To inside door range. So I'll probably never ever bat that percentage ever again or bugle that percentage again. But I've also never been on a hunt, in my opinion, as important as this one is as far as all of that. So I'll take being lucky over good any day.
Well, you definitely, you definitely had the pressure against you to seal the deal. And, you know, Steve says you got 5 days, and you better produce because we got a show to put out here. So,
you know what, I got a question though, because I've always wondered about this. You know, Steve has this very odd palate, this weird taste, you know, sensory.
Oh, the stuff he eats?
The stuff that he eats, yeah, you know. And so at any point in the hunt, were you sitting there thinking like, hey, you know, Steve just got his bull down, we're going to have like Rocky Mountain oysters for dinner? Did that ever cross your mind? Or, you know?
I joked with him like right off the bat. I'm like, you know, Steve, let's do something really crazy and fry up some backstrap. You know, as part of our after.
Yeah, let's just go crazy with it, right?
Yeah. Let's so no, we joked about it, you know, but he's dead set. Like, you know, the tongue's coming out with us, we're taking heart out with us.
Right.
You know, if we weren't spiked in, you know, some of the other stuff went with us, but no, it's you know, nothing too crazy. We talked about fat behind the eyeballs and stuff. He's like, it'll work on these, but, you know, it's definitely the best on caribou. And you know, no call fat because it was just too far to pack out. But
well,
we didn't eat anything crazy.
Look, he is not one who brags about his call ability. Did you let him call at all in your presence? Was that even allowed?
He did.
Oh, he did.
Awesome.
So on my bull specifically, a lot of some of the technique and tactics we use, I would call him more of like a shock and awe. We had located a bull, got him to answer 8, 9, 10 times. We're looking on X maps, like, all right, he's right there. What's the wind doing? So we did a big circle, climbed 600-700 feet up, got on his plane, and then really just snuck in on him, very, very quiet. You know, a lot of times as an archery elk hunter, I make a lot of noise. My dad says I was designed to archery elk hunt because I can't be quiet to rifle.
Yeah, well, look at you, for crying out loud.
Yeah, so we sneak in, and I get to where I think I'm about 100 yards away. Steve sets up about 25 yards behind me. I rip into him with a good lip ball, and then you can hear him coming. Like, he answers back instantaneously, and he answers a couple more times. Well, I don't want to necessarily let that bull know where I'm at, and so Steve just kind of took the bugling on from there and called him into, I think I let the arrow go at like 20 yards.
Oh, nice. Was Steve using a plastic metal tube, or was he
easy bugler?
Easy bugler?
No, he was using the pink signature as well with the metal bugle tube, but he had no mouthpiece attachment to it. So I'm bugling like a flared. He was just going like straight to the metal, which it's not designed for, but it'll work that way. So he was just going, Yeah, but that was one of those things. Like once we get, that's where I tell a lot of guys, and Steve's a he's a good enough caller. I wouldn't say he's the best, and he's far from being the worst. He's good enough, but that's where I've always said I think setting up the scenario was way more important than how good. I didn't have to call that bull, and we did everything else right. Yeah, we just set the scene, and then that bull was coming to see whatever was making that noise.
Yeah. All right. Truth be told, who's a better shot, you or Rinella?
On this hunt, Rinella made a way better shot than I did. Mine still died within 60 yards, but Rinella hit his in the 10 ring. I'm not going to make excuses. My shot was a little bit. The bull was walking, put his head down. It was still in the right spot, but it doesn't look great.
Sure.
But no, Steve, for not being a self-proclaimed, archery guru,
right.
like at the trailhead shooting at targets, like that guy's dialed at 40 yards.
I'll tell you the one significance about his show that stands out from what a lot of other folks are willing to put out there. If Steven Rinella makes a bad shot on an animal, that episode gets shown. I mean, he doesn't hide anything under the rug, right? I mean, that's a situation that he's going to own. And he will tell people who are tuning in, like, hey, you know what? It's hunting. It's not a guaranteed kill every time, and here's what we're going to do now. So, credit to him in that regard. But it just, on the surface, I mean, social media is what social media is. It looks like a fantastic hunt. Having talked to you prior to, I was like, wow, this is pretty awesome. And I want to get you on the show to talk about it because, look, it's New Mexico. It's not the Northwest, right? And people should be intrigued with what it is you guys were able to do and find success in 90-plus degree temperatures. And credit to you, mister, for getting down there 3 days early doing that scouting. I mean, that had to pay dividends.
Yeah, it was just to make sure, you're in the right area, you're in elk. You're not going to waste even a single morning or a single night. So, it was good. And then we got into them right away. So there was no waste of time that way.
What's next on the menu? You guys, you knocked him out down there in New Mexico. You heading Montana? Where are you going?
Yep, Montana is next on the list. So we're heading out to Montana, archery elk hunt there for a little bit, and then go from there. So it's just kind of starting for us, but it should be good. I'm a little worried we're a little later, into the year.
Yeah.
Tomorrow will be October, but they're still rutting. They're going to still rut till the middle of October, so we should be good as long as there's elk around. I'll do my best to get them going.
Folks can catch this episode of Meat Eater on the 10th season on Netflix, and that'll be coming up somewhere around January, February. Do you know?
Yeah, so yesterday they released the first half of season 10. I think the first 5 episodes are currently on Netflix, and then the second half of season 10 will release somewhere around February, plus or minus. I don't know. I just heard February, so I don't know exactly what date. I don't even know if they know exactly what date yet.
Yeah, fantastic. All right, buddy, well, we'll let you go. We know you're busy. Appreciate you jumping on here with us this evening. Great story. Appreciate the content you always provide. Folks love to hear from you, so thanks again.
Yep. Thank you guys very much. Have a good evening, and good luck to you guys the rest of the fall.
Yep, same with you.
Good luck in Montana.
We'll see you.
Take care.
All right, bye.
Yep.
Oh, cut him off. Jason Phelps, no stranger to this location, no stranger to the gear he provides for us, whether it's elk, turkey, or otherwise. Check out what Phelps has going on. Phelps Game Calls releasing their waterfowl lineup as well. And, of course, they're still working on some of the other deer calls and buck grunts and things that they're producing, but they're going to be full, name a type of call, predator call, what have you. They're more likely going to have
I am really impressed, though, with that aluminum tube.
Yeah, it's something else.
And that easy bugler. Like, I'm in my infancy of calling, right?
Sure, yeah.
As are you, I believe, right?
100%.
But I can actually sound like a bull.
What?
Now, it might be a sick bull, but it's a bull.
It's a wounded bull.
I can chuckle a little bit, But it's pretty phenomenal.
It's a bull on his way down to the ground with a double lung shot. And it's his last little noise that he lets out. Is that what you sound like?
Not quite. It's a little bit better than that.
A little better than that. Yeah. Okay. All right. Glad we got Jason on when we did. We are going to jump out for a break, Tommy. We come back. We got some things we got to get through. You and I are going to have a couple discussions here. Folks have been kind of waiting to see where this goes. Interesting dialogue on our social media. If you have some input, be sure to jump on here and let us know where you're at. We're going to take a break. We come back. River etiquette, bank fishing and or boat, down the river, doesn't matter. River etiquette when we come back right here, Fish on Northwest.
A Northwest favorite for almost 40 years, Arima boats are manufactured with pride right here in Bremerton, Washington. Arima Boats offers all of our boats with Honda outboard packages so that you can take full advantage of the reliability and 5-year top-to-prop warranty from your Honda outboard. With literally thousands of Arima boats on the water throughout the Pacific Northwest, Arima boats are a proven hull design that offers incredible fuel economy and all of the amenities that a serious angler is looking for. All Arima boats are built without any structural wood materials. That is why we back our boats with a lifetime warranty. All of our Arima boats are designed to maximize deck space while also providing ample seating. Contact us today at Arima Boats for all your boating needs and let us help you get out on the water.
End of Watch Ride to Remember is a group from the state of Washington traveling across the country to honor fallen officers from 2019. End of Watch organizer Jagrut Shah says they want to show departments who've lost partners and friends they are not alone.
I wanted to bridge this gap that we have and bring back to the department, let the deputies or the officers know that their lost has not been forgotten.
In 2019, 146 officers were killed in the line of duty, and End of Watch Ride to Remember is on a mission to pay their respects to each of them.
For us, it's just important realizing that the men and women in blue everywhere should remember that they haven't been forgotten. We're not forgetting them. We want the families to know that their loved ones have not been forgotten.
Welcome back, Fish Hunt Northwest. Duane England, Tommy Donlin. That was great. Always great talking to Jason Phelps.
Yeah, just a wealth of information.
Oh, yeah. And just the experience of what they were able to get down there in New Mexico and do. Sounds like a fantastic time. So, hey, Tommy, with that, I had thrown out earlier in the week a little, trying to get some feedback, I guess, on a particular topic that a handful of folks, believe it or not, had been tossing up to us to say, hey, would you guys cover a little river etiquette, indoor? Yeah. So do you run into etiquette issues out in the ocean?
We do. And it's, you're going to cover it, I think, and the thing is being too close, right?
Sure, yeah.
And I think with tuna fishing especially, if I'm stopped and I'm live bait fishing, right, and you can tell. I mean, it's obvious. You got 6 guys out on the back deck. Right. All the rods are bent. We're bit, right?
Yeah.
If you come within 200 yards, my 200-yard bubble, you're invading my space, right? And what happens is that boat's going to slide in and it's going to park right next to you and it's going to make your fish sound, right? And then your bait stop is over.
Yeah.
So yeah, same thing. We do have stuff like that.
Yeah. So there is etiquette.
Absolutely.
That you would appreciate folks' respect, and then you pay forward on that, and they give you that respect back. And
that's right.
It's kind of a gentleman and ladies agreement out there on the water, and we're all trying to enjoy our day. At the end of the day, we just want to enjoy the day and not have the frustrations. Everything from stuff that happens at the boat ramp, just trying to get your boat in the water, get your gear ready, enjoy the day, and not have to deal with, and it happens every year. Again, salmon season is fantastic, but it's what we love and hate, right? It's a love-hate thing. And let's face it, some of our areas that we have opportunity to go fish, we are all forced into certain areas of where you have fish that are either retainable or indoor, whatever the driver is in that regard. We have limited options at certain times of the year, which forces everybody to show up at the same location. And when you have tons of people and not a lot of space, things get a little dicey.
Get heated.
Things get a little competitive, right?
Yeah.
I mean, fishing is competition, and it is a sport. There's winners and losers, so it is what it is. But when it comes to river etiquette, there's a handful of rules I have tried to follow and use day in and day out when I'm on the river. I want to treat people great. When folks, quite honestly, float by you in a drift boat, maybe you're having a great day, maybe you're just sitting there enjoying a sandwich, they float on by with heads down, they don't even say anything. I make it a point, hey, how's it going? Hey, what's going on? Hey, how you guys doing, right? I just think it's important just to be friendly, and just have that interaction and just not give people the stink eye, and just, you can tell. There's just, people have a look about them, man. They're either like just out there enjoying the time, the sunshine, whatever, catching fish, maybe missing a few. It's that human interaction. It's that respect. It's being a sportsman. At the end of the day, it's being a sportsman and enjoying what it is we have the benefit of going out and being able to do. And so there's no reason to not say hi to people who are also out there enjoying the same opportunity, right? It's like, why do you show up and act like that?
Right.
If you show up to, if somebody had posted, you show up to the river angry, then you're doing it wrong.
Yeah. You're in the wrong place.
It's not.
So you put together the kind of the 10 Commandments, if you will.
Somewhat the 10 Commandments, right?
So what's number one?
Let's start with bank fishing first of all. When you are bank fishing and you approach the river and there's a person or a couple individuals and they're bank fishing, you know, the onus is on you to be respectful of that environment. Yeah, it might be that piece of water or rock you want to stand on, that piece of water you want to fish, but hey, those people are there. Now, the first thing you do not do is just not say anything, walk right past them, jump in below them, and start fishing, okay? You don't know if they're actually fishing in that spot or if they just started working that piece of water and they're going to work that piece of water down. Look, at the end of the day, whether you're in a boat, you're fishing the riverbank, you're wading through the water, most cases, we're going to start fishing that hole towards the top and we're going to work our way through that piece of water, Tommy. Okay, we're going to go in the direction of travel that the river is flowing. So if I just take it upon myself to drop in below people, start casting, you might have just made some enemies. Some of these turn into fights. This is not what you want to do.
Yeah.
You want to be cordial, approach people. Hey, how's it going? Great. Having a good day? Yes. Small talk. Anything happening? They're probably going to tell you no. Hey, you guys mind if I join you? They're either going to tell you yes or no. If it's a yes, should I jump in here, up here behind you? Care if I go down 30 feet below you? Maybe it's a long gravel bar. Maybe it's a long drift. Maybe I have plenty of room to get down well below these folks. I don't have to worry about it. But if it's a tight quarters and it's a spot that you frequent and other people happen to be there, just take a few minutes. Don't get pissed off. Hey, you mind if I jump in below you? They might be new to fishing. They might go, yeah, go ahead. And you're going, yes, perfect, right? Or they may say, no, I'd rather you didn't, but you can get in behind me. This is a person who understands the craft. They're going to work that piece of water from top to bottom. That's their plan. Don't want to interrupt their plan. You're just going to make an enemy. So that communication, don't just assume you can jump in below persons who are working adrift. I think you're going to be better off. Number two.
That'd be like low-holing them, right?
That is low-holing.
Yeah.
You can low-hole in the bank. You can low-hole in the boat. We're going to get into that in here in a little bit. But number two, when you are standing on the bank and you're float fishing, folks are float fishing, it is acceptable to cast over another person's presentation if they're casting upriver and the river is flowing from my right to my left and their floats are coming through the drift. Now you're fishing below them. You're going to wait at least until their presentation on that float is a good 3/4 of the way through the drift. Then it's okay, it's permissible to cast over them. Some guys will just stand there. I'm like, dude, cast. Well, I don't want to cast over you. No, you're good. I'm 3/4 of the way through my drift. Go ahead and cast. If I hook a fish, it's going to be under you. I have no issues with fighting that fish, bringing it back towards me, stepping down below your line, whatever it takes. What you don't want to do is this guy casts and you're going to cast right in front of him, like 6 feet in front of his bobber. That's kind of a jerk move. That's basically a moving low hole. Just, everybody fish in sequence and kind of, follow suit. There's a rhythm to the madness. Figure it out. Don't be that guy that just casts randomly all the time when other people are in sync.
I think I'm going to do that to Jordan this weekend.
I think you will.
Just to test his emotional intelligence.
Well, he's going to crumble.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right.
Let's see. When you walk into a spot, fishing, bank fishing, and everybody's pitching spinners or twitching jigs, don't be the guy in the middle of the group that walks in with your float rod and start bobber fishing. Yeah, you think I'm crazy, but guys will do it. Okay, you have to survey your surroundings. Okay, be cognizant of the other techniques fishermen are using. If it's a float fishing group and you are going to pitch a spinner, you probably don't want to step in the middle of the group and start pitching the spinner. Okay, it doesn't work. Succinctly, persons fishing floats, everybody kind of gets in the same program, same swing, same movement. If you're going to throw that spinner, you probably should go down to the very end of the drift. It's not going to be to your advantage to be at the top of it because you're going to swing that spinner through and guys are going to be casting floats over you or it's going to get out of sync. You can be that guy at the bottom end. You can go ahead and be that guy at the bottom end. You can, whatever alternative gear you're using that's in opposition of what the group is using, You need to be at one end or the other if it's conducive to fish your style. Maybe you just need to go to a different location.
Yeah. What if you observe them for a while and they're just not catching anything? Then can you toss the spinner, or is it still?
Walk in and simply say, hey, you guys mind if I, pitch in here? Again, I would start down low. Now, there's a guy that threw a story on, hey, everybody was float fishing. Guy came in with a spinner, was down below everybody, threw the spinner three times, ended up with a couple fish. And pretty soon everybody was taking their bobbers off and putting spinners on, right? So, yes, it does happen. But I'm just saying, be cognizant of what the group is doing as a whole. Observation at times can lend to your success.
Absolutely.
Everybody's doing one thing, nothing's working. Look at your water, look at your area. Can I go above or below them and deploy a separate type of technique and find success? Again, sometimes it's just a matter of waiting them out. It's like they're in there throwing hardware, doing this, doing that. Pretty soon they're packing up and leaving. You go in there, make a couple casts with bait, fish on. They're actually turning their head, looking back at you while you're fighting fish as they're leaving. They're going, what? It happens, right? So, be aware of what other fishers are doing and the techniques they're utilizing, and just don't be the person that's in there like a wrecking ball screwing everybody's stuff up, casting over their lines, getting in there and standing right next to them. If you want to combat fish and fish shoulder to shoulder, we have fisheries that are conducive to you doing that, and you can join the crowd, right? If you're looking for a little more solidarity, you can find that as well. People come in to fish with you. If they step in right next to you, you can politely ask them, hey, you mind stepping back above me or walk on down about 30 yards from here, give me a little space? I think that's perfectly acceptable to have that conversation. Some people are going to blow up no matter what you do. I simply look at them and say, hey, take another pull off your bowl and mellow out a little, and the day's going to go just fine, okay?
What's number 4?
Never, ever, under any circumstances, randomly just grab somebody's net, your net, whatever, and net somebody's fish, right?
Why? That seems like the kind thing to do.
First of all, if you're a competent fisherman or lady, you probably can land your fish to the gravel bar in the water's edge without needing a net. We talked about this before the show. Nets are designed with a basket. You have to have enough depth of water to drop the basket under the fish, getting the net frame under the fish and lifting up so the fish drops into the net. Typically when we're fishing, bank fishing, now we're in a drift boat, sure, because you're with buddies and everybody's on the same page, but on the shoreline, unless you're off a deep drop-off and people have long-handled nets and that's kind of the go-to, if I'm on a gravel bar and you come walking towards me with a net, I may pull out and draw my paintball gun on you and splatter your waders, okay? I'm just saying, don't net my fish.
That's a big no-no then.
You can ask, hey, you want me to net your fish? Some person's going to say, yeah, absolutely. Then you're going to be the guy standing in knee-high water, and as the fish comes in close, you're going to jab at it with a net. Fish is going to take off. It's going to take you twice as long to land this fish because you got people going after it with a net. Fish can see.
So you see this person coming, and they've got a net. You know they're trying to net your fish.
They think they're going to.
What do you say? Do you scold them like a dog? No, stay. Bad boy.
I simply go, hey,
stop it.
No worries, buddy, I got it. Really, you don't want to net your fish? No, I got it, right? And then I give them a little lesson on how to properly bring that fish to hand on the gravel at the water's edge, keeping them in the water, no net marks. If it's a catch and release situation on a wild fish, we don't need to use a net. We don't need to drag them in the mud. We've produced that video last year. We're going to bring it to you guys again this year. Proper technique on landing fish at the gravel bar so you can release them unharmed. Just don't assume just because a guy or gal's fighting a fish, they want you to grab a net and help them out. Just let them enjoy the fight. If they're screaming, somebody grab a net, it's like somebody call 911, then probably pay attention. Get a net or assist if you can, or tail the fish for them. If they're really struggling, maybe set your rod down, go over there, do the right thing, help them tail that fish. They might just be starting out. If you got a number of years and know how to land fish, know how to tail fish, by all means help them out if you're equipped to do so. One that really grinds my gears, Tommy, if you got a backpack full of stuff and you bring it in, this is a full-on etiquette thing. Pack it out. Pop cans, beer cans.
Doesn't matter.
Wrappers, doesn't matter. I don't want to see your garbage on the riverbank. If you're cutting line off your reel, dropping gear there on the riverbank, throw it in a baggie, whatever, put it in your backpack. You brought it in, you take it out. And if, by chance, you come into a place where there's an excessive amount of garbage and you have the ability to do so, pick up other person's trash, just trying to help keep our environment as clean as we can. It gets bad. It gets real bad.
I can imagine.
High populated areas, certain fisheries throughout the year, you guys know what I'm talking about. the amount of garbage that builds up is overwhelming and it gets bad. So if you see it, can do something about it, and/or somebody's walking away, hey, why don't you come back, pick up your trash? You know, do the right thing, right? So that's one thing. Now we're talking drift boats, okay? Look, we all know you're going to get to the ramp in the morning. It can be kind of hectic. You may get stuck behind that individual first couple times back in a trailer. This is not the time to ridicule, get all pissed off because they're jeopardizing your opportunity to get on the water. We've all been there. Everybody has to start backing up a trailer at some point. Maybe it's new to them. Maybe it's a ramp. It's hard to see. Some of our situations, as it's still kind of dark, it's hard to find the line, back it down, back it off the side of the ramp, whatever. You know, instead of getting pissed off and mad about it, give them a hand. Help them out. You know, hey, anything I can do to help you out, maybe shine a light along the edge here so you can see as you back your trailer down.
Oh, when you said give them a hand, I thought you meant like give them
first time. Welcome.
Congratulations.
Good job. No. Lend them a hand in their efforts. Try to make their morning start off a little bit better. You know, it gets so damn competitive. Everybody's just in a hurry, wants to get first water. Which leads me to the next one, boat racing in the darkness. You know, that's a young man's sport. I mean, if you want to do that, go ahead, knock yourself out. There are hazards in the river. River water never stops moving. Strainers and stumps and things that you can get hung up on. You may think you know the lay of the land, but if it's the first time down that river for that season, I guarantee it has changed. And there's a lot of guys that do it, and I used to do it, you know, and might still do it from time to time, but it's not what I like to do. I don't like to go down in the dark. I like to be able to see. And I don't like passing up water just to get to that spot. It's salmon fishing. They bite pretty much all day on certain conditions. If you're confident in your abilities, you're going to find that these fish, for the most part, you can get them to trigger most of the day, hole after hole after hole. Even after this water's been fished on, even after a handful of drift boats have gone by. This isn't steelhead season, folks. And even in that regard, we get in boat races and people pass up opportunities. So there is nothing wrong with slowing down, batting cleanup. You can fish behind people and catch fish all day. We've been doing it for years. So just, you know what, take a breath. Everybody take a breath. Don't put yourself in jeopardy. Don't go be the night stalker. Don't go down river with headlamps and flashlights. Just take a moment and enjoy the day. Part of this is about enjoying the day. Right? So just slow down and enjoy the day. Quit the boat racing in the dark. As you float down river in your drift boat and you're passing other boats, let's say there's a boat either on anchor and or on the sticks and they're pulling plugs. Do not simply get a boat length past this individual who's got plugs or bait divers, whatever, out in front of the boat, and start pitching your gear in right at the front edge of where their plugs are in. Give that individual space, right? If it's a really long run, and I'll use like maybe the Cowlitz, for example, you get on some really long runs. I can get 20, 30, 40 yards down below somebody, 30 yards down below somebody. Then I feel good enough that I can start throwing my gear in, whether I'm bobber dogging or whatever. If we're on some of these smaller tributaries that we're going to be out here on for the better part of the next couple months, it is really not acceptable to get simply a couple boat lengths past where that person's running those plugs, running that run, and start pitching your gear in. The worst thing you can do is throw that bobber dog and setup in there and hook a fish right in front of a guide's clients, for example. Or even some other guys that might be fishing. Okay, that is just not good river etiquette. That's not anything we want to do. From oarsmen to oarsmen, we should be better than that. If you have persons in your boat that haven't done a lot of river fishing, don't have a lot of experience, the onus is on you to say, hey guys, just hold off a second, I'll tell you when to cast. Right? Be respectful of that person. Same holds true for if you are floating past persons fishing on the bank. Okay? We have a drift boat. We have a pretty phenomenal day ahead of us. We have 8 to 10 miles of river, lots of opportunity, lots of holes we can get to. Bank persons have limited access. They're fishing that one hole. Perhaps that's where they're going to put in a better part of their day. So just as you float on by, you know, a quick good morning, how's the coffee, whatever. Hey, take a pull off that bottle for me. Whatever it is, but don't cast in their water. Just give it to them, let them have it, let them enjoy their day. Don't make them start hating persons in boats. That's not the message you want to send. Also, when guys are sitting on anchor, it doesn't matter if they're sitting on anchor and they got plugs out. You got to give them that same distance. They may not be planning to do that full run, but you don't know that. Now you can say, hey, all right, if we get down here a little ways and I throw out, and most guys are going to be like, yeah, no problem. Because they're just literally waiting for the fish to come to them. They're not going to sit there and work this piece of water. So, you know, it's that communication thing. Reach out and say something, and you'll probably be okay. If you come around a corner and you got a gravel bar you want to put the boat up on, and there's a couple of people fishing there, hey, again, you're in a drift boat. Yeah, it's a great piece of water that you typically stop at and fish. I can name a number of spots along these rivers out here coastal where I like to get out, park the boat, get on the gravel bar and fish. If there's a couple guys there, ladies, what have you, you might say, hey, mind if we join you? They're going to be like, yeah, no problem. Why? Because everybody likes to see people catching fish, and if there's room, it's no big deal. And if you're competent and confident, you're going to probably be able to join in with people, meet some new folks, have a good time, high-fiving, catching fish, enjoy the day. If they say, you know, we got enough people here, don't make it an argument, just move on. Come back another day, right? Live to fish another day. So never, moving on down my line here, I already kind of mentioned the boat ramp deal, but the other one I want to take away from that is don't cut in line. And the other thing you need to do, especially if you're a beginner and it takes you a little bit to get your boat in gear and everything ready to go prior to launch, make sure you're not sitting next in line to back your drift boat in and the person in front of you is done, has pulled their trailer on up and out of there, and you're sitting there still getting all your stuff ready. Yeah. Getting the boat situated.
I mean, is it really cutting if that person is getting ready?
Well, you ask.
I mean, okay.
And you do. So I will literally pull up or walk up and say, hey, you going to be a walleye? Mind if I jump in front of you? Most guys are going to be like, yeah, go ahead. Okay? It's just rude to assume.
Yep.
It's like it's rude to assume I want you to net my fish. It's rude to assume that you can just jump in front of somebody and back your boat in, because maybe he was just about done going to jump in his truck and get going. Okay? So, again, nothing wrong with asking. More times when you do that, you find yourself in a brief, short conversation about, you know, how the river's been fishing. Hey, have you been out here yet? Hey, you made it out yet this year? How's it fishing? What do you think of this water level? Well, it's, you know, high and brown right now, so it's going to be a challenge.
Haven't caught a tuna in weeks.
Haven't caught a tuna in weeks. Whatever it is, that communication thing at the boat ramp is going to go a long ways, and you might find yourself, you know, making friends or allies you can count on if you run into some problem down the river. The other one I want to talk about is never trespass. Don't leave your garbage, okay? Never trespass. If you don't have the rights to be on a person's property, whether you go there access via from the road or from a drift boat, then you shouldn't be there. If there's posted signs, for sure, don't just show blatant disregard. Never, ever cut a fence line to get access to where you want to be. There are persons who will literally cut barbed wire fences just because they think this is an inconvenience to crawl through this fence when we want to go fish this area. And you let person's cattle out or some other livestock. That is not acceptable. You want to understand why farmers get ticked off about persons on their property leaving garbage, leaving human waste, and or cutting fences. This is the type of stuff that you don't do along the river. You want to make friends, not enemies. You want farmers to enjoy letting us have access to certain parts of the river. That's how you do it. You continue to do this other behavior, they're like, no, nobody accesses that spot on the corner gravel bar anymore because of what they've done to my land, right?
Yeah.
So if we've done that, we own it. And it's on persons of, you know, good behavior and good decisions that's going to allow us to continue to have access. So,
yeah, that was a good list. You know, the one thing, as I was listening to you, I think the one thing that I took away is that 90% of these potential problems can be solved with communication.
Yeah, don't you think?
Yeah.
A couple questions here. A couple questions about etiquette. How long can someone stay on a hole without allowing other anglers an opportunity? Well, it depends on the size of the area. You know, if it's compact and there's not a lot of room, and they're there for the day fishing, I mean, they got there first, right? Set the alarm, get up early. Getting that dry throat. And you probably beat somebody to the hole. There's no time limit. Now, if they have their limit and they're continuing to catch and release adult fish, now that's illegal. That's something they should be cognizant of, you know. One of the issues we're going to run into out here on these coastal streams with a one fish limit this year is people are going to get their one fish and they're going to keep on fishing. I guarantee it'll happen, right? So be mindful of, if you get your limit, you probably should call it a day and let somebody else have access. If it is your one day to fish within a couple weeks and you're there first and you're catching fish and releasing fish and enjoying your day, you know what? Enjoy your day. There's no time limit. if there's plenty of room and persons are catching fish, again, it's that communication thing. Walk in, hey, how's it going? Mind if I drop below you or step in above you here and fish, and work it out. Next thing you know, you're probably fishing with somebody. You start building that relationship on the river. You'd be amazed at how many friends you make on the river by simply saying hi, or being cordial on the riverbank, or being cordial in the drift boat. Most persons are out there to have a good time. So if you are friendly, chances are the response is going to be friendly as well.
And it doesn't matter if that other person is a guide or just Joe Blow, right?
Yeah, no, it doesn't matter. Yeah. And, you know, guides, for the most part, are typically extremely cordial. Why? Because their name's on the side of the damn boat.
Right. And they've got clients
in their boat. And they got clients in the boat.
Yeah, right.
And you don't want to be that guy that your clients leave going, holy smokes, can you believe
Did you hear what he said?
Yeah, the way he blew up at that guy. So what they say under breath later on is a totally different deal. But your face-to-face value and conversation, how you treat people is important, and especially in the lens of clients who are in your boat.
Right.
Okay? And Tommy, you hit it on the head. A lot of this stuff can be resolved by simple communications, having that conversation, asking for permission, working it out. And at the end, if it doesn't work out, just hug it out, man. You know? So there's a lot of angst out there on the river. A lot of people get uptight. A lot of people are in a hurry. Everybody's trying to be, you know, Facebook famous. They want to have that grin and grip and post those pictures and all. I get all that. You know, look, we aren't doing this because we want to put pictures of fish all over the internet. I think.
Wait, we're not.
We have. Oh well.
Wait, I'm sorry.
Okay, time for you to leave. So there's a little more layers here than just that. But for some people, that's part of their enjoyment.
Right.
We get that. But at the end of the day, we're all out there to enjoy ourselves, have a good time, and obviously catch fish. Right? We want to catch fish. So that's what it's all about. So. That there is a little bit of river etiquette. If you have some more insightful bits or tidbits of information you would like to get out there for us to utilize and or others, please throw that up there on our comments here or post it up on our Facebook page. We'd love to hear from you. That went on for a bit, Tommy, and I am parched. We're going to jump out for a quick break. When we come back, you are front and center, my friend.
That's right.
Ballistics Lab breaking out when we come back after this break with Tommy Donlin right here at Fish Hunt Northwest. Allied boats are built by West Coast fishermen for West Coast fishermen. Deep V 21-degree dead rise at the transom guarantees a smooth ride no matter the conditions. Allied offers all of our boats with Honda outboard packages so that you can take full advantage of the reliability and 5-year top-to-prop warranty from your Honda outboard. Allied boats range from 19 to 32 foot in length, so no matter what type of heavy gauge boat you are looking for, we have it for you. All of our Corsair 21 foot and larger designs come standard with reverse chine that is welded inside and out with no extrusions below the waterline, so that you will never have to worry about corrosion problems down the road. Get out on the water today in a boat that you can trust and enjoy with Allied Boats. Contact us at Allied Boats today to learn much more about our incredible fishing machines.
New days, new beginnings, new friends, new loves, new dreams, new goals, new scenery, new job. No matter what the next chapter holds, Better Homes and Gardens Real Estate will be there to help you find the new that's right for your lifestyle. At any stage of your life. Better Homes and Gardens Real Estate. Expect better.
Hey, welcome back, Fish Hunt Northwest. Duane, Tommy Donlin. There you go. my friend, a little bit of river and boat etiquette.
Yeah, it's good to know. I mean, that's good for me because I'm going to be doing it this weekend. Right?
There's a reason I wanted to get that out prior to taking you to the river. I wanted you to know the rules of engagement before we get out there. I mean,
you didn't want to start, fights, right?
Well,
as we go down the river.
Yeah, I don't need that.
Yeah.
So, but hey, we're moving on. You, my friend, take your hunting prep to a whole new level, right? I've said it before, and it's worth repeating. Tommy Donlin never turns off his engineer brain, especially when it comes to dialing things in, and there's numbers involved, right? Trajectory, granules, size of barrel. I mean, all these numbers, we could probably list out a ton of them. But at the end of the day, it's all in an effort to make sure you are so dialed that when you lob that lead downrange, it's going to hit the anticipated target.
Yeah. Well, and to be honest, to be perfectly honest, I wasn't always this dialed, right? And I think that, I started hunting, unfortunately, I didn't grow up hunting, right? I wasn't raised hunting, any kind of hunting.
Sure.
Now, and that's not to say I didn't creep around the yard and shoot a squirrel or a crow or something like that with the BB gun.
I think creep is the right word. Yeah.
Oh, I did, man. The neighbors were on me. I had to belly crawl across the grass.
Yeah.
But, I think, what did it for me is I shot my first buck in 2015.
Yep.
Next year, I shot another buck, put my wife on a buck. The year after that, I missed a mule deer buck that I should have never missed in my life. It was a 310-yard shot. And from that point forward, I said, and I figured out why I missed it, because I looked at the deer and I go, oh yeah, that's like 100 yards, right? Well, it was 310 yards, right? And then I realized that, I'm not a good shooter. I don't have an understanding of ballistics and bullet drop and all of these things, and I need to get in gear. And, luckily, I've got a mentor or coach, Mark Chandler, who's kind of introduced me to the world of shooting, right?
Yep.
And, part of hunting, you got to know the animal behavior. You have to know the terrain. You have to know the likely spots where they're going to be for whatever quarry you're chasing. But the other part of that equation is when you get to that point where you can engage that animal, you have to be dialed. You have to be a dialed shooter. And it's a system, right? It's not just the rifle that you're using or the scope that you have on the rifle. It's not just, you as the shooter, and it's not just the type of ammo you're using. It's all three of those things, right? So you got to be a good shooter. You have to have the right rifle, and you have to have the right cartridge in the rifle.
Yeah,
okay?
Good point.
And so what I want to walk through is those three things. I want to kind of dive into each one and talk details, okay? Now, the first thing as the shooter, right? And this is common sense, but you would be shocked at the people that, are just avid hunters. They love to hunt. They live year-round for that 2-week season, and then they go to the range once, right? And it doesn't matter whether it's archery or muzzleloader or rifle. You got to practice, right? And unfortunately, I hate to tell you this, but when you get to the top of a mountain and you find that bull that you can shoot, there's not going to be a nice bench up there,
right.
Okay, and a nice seat where you can sit down and set up your rifle. And not every shot's going to be a prone shot either, right? And so one of the things that we practice is we practice snap shooting, right? Now we've got AR platform rifles that we use for a lot of quick shooting. It's cheaper to shoot, especially in today's environment where, quite honestly, it's hard to go out and buy a 180 grain Nosler AccuBond right now. It's hard to find the components for reloading. It's hard to find the finished ammo. I think, Boo was on the chat earlier saying that his brother's got a 6.5 by 300, and where can I find ammo?
Yeah.
And so we practice with some rifles that are a little bit cheaper. But you have to practice everything from, hey, that buck pops out of the bush at 40 yards and he starts running, to, hey, I've got an opportunity at 600 yards. And you know what? You should never take a 600-yard shot if you don't practice at 600 yards, right?
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
You shouldn't just practice 600 yards in a prone position. You should practice, seated, right? You should practice off a tripod, right? You have to get comfortable with all those positions. And I think the thing to really think about in terms of, how you get into that position, and it doesn't matter what shooting position it is, whether it's kneeling, sitting, doesn't matter. The whole concept of getting an accurate shot off is that you're not using your muscles to hold the rifle up, okay? You want everything resting on bone, right? So if you need to put your elbow on your knee, put your elbow on your knee. don't use your arm to hold the rifle up.
Yeah.
You want your whole body to be resting on something that's completely solid. And let's face it, no matter how strong you are, you know, your muscle's not going to hold up that rifle perfectly like it would be if it was sitting on a block. And if you need to take your backpack and shove your backpack under your elbow, right? Or if you need to put your gun on your backpack, right? You need to find a way to do that.
Yep.
So that is the first thing and foremost. And I'll say that there's really no excuse for practice, because even if it's pouring down rain outside like it was today, you can still practice in your living room, okay? You can take your rifle, make sure it's unloaded. You can pull the bolt out like Duane has with his Tika right here on the table.
Good point.
And you can pull it up and you can find the sight picture, right? You can bring your eye into view of that scope and pick a point in the room, right? And focus on that point, bring the rifle up so that it becomes first nature, bringing that rifle up into view so that you can acquire your target. And the other thing is, you know, a lot of folks will pull their shots, right? Left or right. So if you're at the range and I see a shooter and you know, most of their shots are vertically not displaced, but horizontally displaced, that tells me that their trigger finger is either too far into the trigger or just on the very edge of the trigger, right? And so really the key there is you want to have it just on the very tip of your finger, the middle of the tip of your finger, if that makes sense. And you need to, you know, you want to squeeze slowly. It's not like a bam and the gun goes off, right? And I think, you know, a lot of people flinch. And so you got to get into the mode where you're looking at your target, and at the range, what I try to do to remedy this is I'm following through with the shot. So I want to look at that target the whole way through the trigger pull, right? Through the shot. And, you know, when you're shooting a Magnum, you're not going to be able to see the target most likely the whole way through the shot, but that's what I'm thinking mentally. That's how I prepare for that shot. Because as soon as you don't follow through or you don't have that mindset, that's when you're going to start pulling those shots. So, you know, you got to have that first thing in place, and that's the shooter, okay? Now, the second thing is the rifle. And, you know, take it from a guy that's, you know, quote unquote, chased zero in a lot of rifles, some used rifles where, you know, the barrel was getting burnt out, or I had an uneven spot inside the barrel and it was building up copper. Your rifle has to be right too. And so, you know, with that equation, you got to check your action screws, right? Your action screws hold the action, the barrel, you know, your recoil lugs to that stock, right? And you got to look up the torque specs for your rifle. You should make sure that those are torqued, and use a blue Loctite to tighten those screws. But you look at your rifle, you've got other connections as well. You've got the rail to the action, right? Or the receiver, you've got rail screws, you've got scope rings, and you've got your scope. Now, the other thing is, you know, mounting a scope, right? You will never see me let anybody from any store, and that's not talking bad about anybody, but I'm never going to just let somebody mount my scope for me. I'm not, because that if you are off a degree, okay, and you're going out and you're trying to make a 400-yard shot, that's going to have an impact left to right as to where that shot lands. You have to have that scope perfectly aligned. I mean, perfectly aligned to that scope and those scope rings. And there's a very specific procedure, depending on what rings you use and which, you know, and how you lay that scope into the rings. You know, some rings are precision cut, so you don't have to lap them. Some are not, so you have to lap them first. That's kind of why I just prefer to do that mounting myself. You got to make sure it's perfectly level. You know, and then there's add-ons to help your shooting experience. So I have a bubble on mine, right? I have a bubble on my scope. So that tells me, you know, if I'm shooting, am I canting the rifle to one way or another? And I'm kind of exaggerating, but you know,
it doesn't take much, right?
Yeah, it doesn't take much, and you got to be right with the world, and that bubble's going to tell you. And so my right eye is trained. I'm a right-handed shooter and right eye dominant. You should always go, by the way, you should always go with the dominance of your eye. So my wife, she's right-handed, but she's left eye dominant, so she shoots a left-handed rifle.
Yeah.
Okay. But you really want to make sure that, you know, that right eye is focused through the scope, looking at the reticle, and that left eye is to check that bubble, right? And that's all it's there for. Check bubble, good, and then I'm focused. I keep both eyes open when I shoot, and that way I kind of always have that periphery of either the animal or that bubble. You know, the other thing that kind of really makes things nice is if you do have to make another shot, I've got oversized bolt handles on my rifle. You know, with elk especially, it's, you know, out of respect for the animal and just to make sure that you did your job right, you shoot until that animal's down, right? And so, you know, my last bull that I shot, I got 3 shots in him. And when I first shot him, he was 301 yards. The second shot and third shot were between 301 and the last shot was 337, right? You want to keep shooting that animal until it is dead, right? Animal dies sooner, it's quicker, it's just more humane, and you get that animal, right?
Sure.
Now some guys will say, oh, well, you put 3 holes in them, right? Well, you know, if you're a good shot and you do your job, they should be all somewhere in that chest cavity in the lungs, right? Not in the back strap, not in the rear quarter, you know, so on and so forth. Yeah. Okay, number 3, right? And I think a lot of people overlook this, and that's because a lot of people don't have access to, you know, reloading equipment and the components to build up their rounds like we do. But, you know, let's face it, these production rifles are very picky. They are, and you may not realize it, but, you know, you go out, you buy a new rifle, you mount it, you put the scope on it, you take it to the range, and then you go, okay, well, I'm going to go to the store and I'm going to buy a box of ammo. It's 20 rounds, right, for a box. Oh my God, it's $40. Okay, I'm gonna be a big spender, and I'm gonna spend you know, $80. I'm gonna get 2 boxes, right? Whereas, like, I mean, to be honest with you, when I go to the range, if I'm shooting 40 rounds, that's a light day. Okay.
Right.
And you know, the thing about this factory ammo, like the completed ammo, when you go to the store, that ammo is most likely, unless it's custom ammo or it's, you know, like a high quality ammo, it's built by a machine, right? The tolerance on the powder throw, when it puts powder into that casing, it's not exact, okay? When we reload, right, and we build our rounds, it is absolutely exact to the 10th of a grain. And I will tell you that in these production rifles, now I'm not talking about, you know, your super duper custom rifles where you've spent $2,000, you've got a, you know, a Fierce or maybe even a Christensen Arms or something like that. I'm talking, you know, you go and buy just your run of the mill, your Tikka, right? Your Savage, your Remington, it doesn't matter. You know, that rifle, believe it or not, has very specific nodes of powder ranges that it likes. And what you try to do, right, when we do an optimal charge weight test for that rifle is we're looking at what is the rifle like in terms of how much powder. And you would be surprised to see that a tenth of a grain away from another charge can be a completely different accuracy solution. So you could be shooting, you know, a 0.3 MOE group, minute of arc or minute of angle. Basically at 100 yards, it'd be a 0.3 inch center to center hole punch, right? Out of a 5-shot group. And then you go a tenth of a grain away, 2/10 of a grain away. And now all of a sudden it's opened that group up and you're shooting an inch or an inch and a quarter. Right? So really picky. So you got to have the ignition part of that cartridge right. Now, if you don't have means to reload, you don't want to get into it, that's not a problem. But what you do want to do is you don't want to just buy one type of ammo. You don't want to go to the store and just buy, okay, well, I'm only going to buy, you know, a Hornady SST already built ammo. Yeah, it doesn't shoot that great. It's like an inch and a half at 100 yards, but that's okay. You know, no, you want to try that, and then you want to try one that's got maybe an Accubon in it, and maybe one that's got a Berger bullet, right? And maybe different powder types. So, you know, when you look at these rounds, ignition is a huge thing, right? Consistency in how that bullet leaves the barrel and what speed it leaves the barrel at. Now, the other component is harmonics, okay? So when these barrels, when you fire a round down a barrel, the barrel actually deflects and it whips. And you know, you control that harmonic by controlling how far that bullet is seated into the casing. Now, again, if you're not reloading or you don't have a press where you can seat the bullet, you're going to be trying to buy different types of ammo that's seated to different lengths, and trying to figure that out for yourself. But, you know, again, you're going to find that some rifles, if I seat the bullet 20 thou deeper, all of a sudden I found my accuracy solution. So there's really, you know, and you know, within those two realms of, I break it down into ignition and then harmonics. Within each one of those realms, there's another, you know, bunch of variables included in those, right? Like we could get into talking about neck tension, right? and how to clean cases and things like that. But we're not going to go there.
People thought I was kidding about the engineer brain. He didn't believe me, right? People are like, it's, you know, really? Trust me, people. This is Tommy and his element.
Yeah.
And this is good stuff. I mean, pay attention.
You know, and so wrapping it up, though, those are the three things that you really have dialed. It's not just about you as the shooter. Mm-hmm. It's not just about the rifle. And it's not just about the ammo that you have. You know, you can buy some really expensive ammo that doesn't shoot good in the rifle that you bought. Mm-hmm. Or you can have a Browning Hell's Canyon long range, great rifle, and you can have really good custom ammo. But if you suck as a shooter, then you suck as a shooter. It's not going to be an accurate rifle if you don't practice shooting with that rifle,
and you
right?
just continue to deploy bad habits, right?
You got to have all three pieces of the equation.
Look, this is an over-the-counter Tika 270.
Yep.
Right. Last year we put that Vortex Viper on there.
Yeah.
Went out there and dialed it in, and you know this thing drives tacks. And I'm going to get out and start shooting it here this next week. I've ran a couple different types of ammo through it. It seems to shoot a wide range of ammo pretty well.
Yeah.
I mean,
Tika makes a really good gun.
For a gun that's 200 to 300 yards, which is going to be within my realm of comfort. Mm-hmm. This gun will get it done for me.
Yep.
And I don't put in near the time you do. I'm not going to get into reloading and self-loading and all that stuff. I'm going to rely on over the counter. I'm going to rely on putting time in, knowing exactly how that gun feels and sits in my shoulder, and how to get it into a position of comfort and steadiness that I can shoot it. I got a bipod on there. If I lay prone and want to pop it up or put it on a stump or a log or something, and I get a deer in the sights, but it's just, for me, what I will rely on is time and practice and trying different over-the-counter ammos and see what performs with this gun and what I have the most confident reliability in, right?
Yep.
Now, I can take it to the next level with you, and I may do that when I retire because I might find enough time to do all that because that's just craziness. But, it is what it is. It's a passion of yours, much like egg curing for me, right? On a different schedule or different spectrum. But
you've got a great rifle. Tika makes a great rifle.
Yeah.
Most of them, I think they have a 1 MOA guarantee, which is pretty awesome. So just really good quality rifle. I mean, it's kind of it's the little brother to the Sako.
Sure.
I believe it's Browning that imports the Tikas. But same family as Sako, just a really good line, good lineage that it comes from. So yeah.
Yeah, and take a gun like that and put a high caliber set of
optics on
there, and you're going to do yourself a favor, right? So,
good
stuff, brother. I mean, that is in depth beyond what most people can even fathom. So, but it's good stuff, well worth repeating, and we will multiple times until you folks get it through your skull. So, with that, we're going to jump out for a quick break, come back, close out the show. We have a number of bullet points to get through, things that are happening, openings, closings, opportunity. So much going on, we don't want to leave you hanging. So don't go anywhere, stick through the break. We're going to get back and close this baby out right here at Fish Hunt Northwest. Defiance boats are built without any structural wood materials. That is why we back our boats with a lifetime warranty. All of our Defiance boats come standard with large fish boxes that are fully insulated so that you can ice your fish properly all day. Defiance boats feature a 21 to 22 degree dead rise at the transom and a large reverse chine for incredible handling and stability offshore. Defiance boats are foam flotation filled and unsinkable for the ultimate in safety while fishing offshore. Defiance boats feature fuel-efficient hull designs with large fuel tank capacity so that you can have maximum fuel range for making long offshore runs completely safe and affordable. All Defiance boats come standard with self-bailing decks for improved safety while at sea. Defiance Boat offers all our boats with Honda outboard packages so that you can take full advantage of the reliability and 5-year top-to-prop warranty from your Honda outboard. Defiance Boats for all your boating needs, and let us help you get out on the water.
Today, the need for quality private security services is at an all-time high. Contract Security Service provides day-to-day peace of mind as they protect people and property. Phoenix Protective Corporation strives for excellence. Above all, Phoenix security officers are managed by leaders trained to inspire and encourage greatness. Here at Phoenix, we provide service for multiple state and federal contracts, with service ranging from uniform, patrol, alarm monitoring, canine detection, executive protection, as well as investigative work. We here at Phoenix are looking for highly motivated individuals to apply. If you're a vet, retired or active, and would like to work with us, please apply.
Welcome back, Fish Hunt Northwest. Duane England, Tommy Donlin, winding it down. Good stuff, man.
Thanks, brother.
Well, in depth. Yeah, absolutely. In your strength of knowledge, no doubt. Number of things going on out there, Tommy, that we need to make folks aware of. You know, they extended the season on the Snohomish-Skykomish system again, once again, through October 3rd. They originally had extended, I believe, through September 26th, I think it was, and now they bumped it to October 3rd. That's representative of the fact that we got a great number of fish still coming in. The run is strong, performing well in the salt, performing well in the lower river. So they feel as if there's enough fish, and Danny Stonedahl said it at the beginning of the show. You know, they'll reevaluate as we roll into the middle of October here, possibly extending even the Skagit fishery and tributaries into November, all based on run performance. So as it sits right now, the Snohomish-Skykomish is definitely through October 3rd, and that is effective, yeah, September 24th through the 3rd. So we're well into that. A few more days to get up there. Daily limit 4, and still have opportunity on some pink salmon too for a few of those hanging around. Something else I want to make folks aware of. The next set of dates and tides have been posted starting again October 3rd. You know, nice thing is with the clam digs here in Washington, this next set of tides, you're going to have 3 mornings, excuse me, 3 morning tides with this next dig, October 3, 4, 5. So opportunity to get out there as it rolls into daylight hours based on those tides. You can actually get there, get your dig done first thing in the morning after daylight. Daylight now is about 7 a.m.-ish or so. Still good opportunity to get those digs in. And then you have a handful of dates that will flip to PM tides only through October 11th. Again, same beaches as before, Long Beach, Twin Harbors, and Capelas. Mocrox is also on there, depending on the date. So make sure you check the regs, because they bounce back and forth between a couple of those beaches as we get our way through the 11th. Additionally, Oregon is they're kicking off their clamming as well. We here in Washington, the lucrative limits of 20, but down in Oregon, you're still going to be held to a limit of 15, but they're pretty excited about the opportunity on some of these beaches that haven't seen clamming in a while. So if you're down there based out of Oregon, on the coast there, you're going to have some fantastic opportunity to get on some clamming as well, which is coming up here relatively quick. Check your regs and be on top of that, because you guys don't always get the opportunity as many beaches as we have up here in Washington. So it's nice to see that it's bouncing back in multiple locations, Tommy, not just here in Washington. So something I know you're pretty excited about.
Very.
As we stampede on through this, October 1st, starting tomorrow, winter crab season, my friend.
Hell yeah.
Also, reminder, due date of your summer crab card.
That's right.
You need to get that in. If you haven't done so, jump online, wdfw.org, and you can find your way to the, what you do is you set up your own personal account on WDFW, have access to all your licensing and tags and reporting, so any of your catch card reporting requirements, you can get that done online. Don't have to go in, mail anything in, just do it electronically online. It's so simple, but you have to have your summer crabbing reporting in by October 1st, and then you also can purchase online even your winter crab option or opportunity, and that goes from October 1st to December 31st.
Right.
7 days a week.
Yeah.
In areas 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 8, 2, 9, and 12.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I mean, that's one of my favorite wintertime activities is crabbing.
Well, you know, cold water and big crabs, not a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
You know, there are people that take advantage of it, but let's face it, there's a lot more folks crabbing in the summer. So your opportunity to get some decent-sized crabs are pretty good, especially for you. That seems to be something you do on a regular basis. All right, hey, the final numbers were in for the Everett Coho Derby. Once again, hats off to all those participating agencies that put that on. Huge success by all accounts, over 1,800 participants this year, Tommy.
That's impressive.
1,838, 192 youth participants, total of 56 teams. They had that side pot team opportunity with 4 persons per team. The winners, the winning fish was 13.15 pounds, which is fantastic. That's a nice size coho.
Yeah, it is.
13-pound coho. That's a really nice size coho. Brock Baker won that. He's out of Everett. $10,000 first prize. Brent Jones with a 12.44 for second place, winning $5,000, and a 12.40. So just 0.04 separated second and third place. Chaz McNabb won that. He's out of Sultan. He got $2,500. You know, the payouts and the prizes and the number of things given away, I mean, just absolutely big success. You know what's interesting, though? 1,800 participants, only 524 fish caught and entered into the Derby. I would have expected there'd be well over 1,000.
You're right, I would have thought so too.
Because the fish has been pretty doggone good, and it continues to sustain, even get through this weather here. We may have a little bit of a lull, but the weather's going to turn nice. This storm that hit us here knocked our communications out for the better part of the beginning of the show. I'm still grinding my teeth about that. It is turning the corner here. We have an outlook for the next 7 to 10 days. Fantastic weather. The rivers that have risen and are brown right now and discolored will soon, within a couple days, 24, 48-hour turnaround on some of these drainages. Those rivers are going to be prime time. We got a lot of fish finding their way into the rivers. So if you can't get out this weekend, find a means or ways somewhere Monday through midweek. Maybe take a personal day. sick day. Need a little
PTO.
bit of, need something to free your mind from all that is everything going on. The fishing's going to be great, folks. There's a lot of fish out there, lots of coho, still some Chinook to be had in areas where you can retain them. You're going to run into those, encounter those, whether you're fishing bait or beads or whatever it is, your method or technique. Remember, we need to use kid gloves on these Chinook, release them without too much harm. Make sure you're not dragging them up into the mud and on the gravel and all those types of things. We want to release these fish.
And don't net Duane's fish.
Especially if I'm on a gravel bar. If you're in my boat and I tell you to do so, then by all means, grab that net and have at it. But anything else, boy, we're going to go toe-to-toe. So, all right. Any final words, my friend?
No, I'm good to go. I'm excited about this weekend.
Yeah, we're going to get out there. I'll let you know by late tomorrow afternoon what the game plan is. Hey, watch your river gauges. Watch the river forecast and kind of meld that in with what the river's actually doing. Once you get on that drop, and if you have a phone a friend buddy who can put eyes on it for turbidity, you're well within the opportunity. Now, those upper stretches, Tommy, I'm telling you right now, those upper stretches in some of these rivers right here in our backyard probably fish just fine tomorrow. Probably fish just fine. I may venture out, or I may splash the boat and go chase some kokanee because we still have a full month, believe it or not, to go get some of these big brute kokanee that are out here in the backyard. So have a great weekend, everybody. Have a great week. Get out there, find some success. These openings are going to be exciting. Lots more coming in the next couple weeks in the hunting realm, Tommy. We got lots to talk about. Some great guests to bring on. Appreciate everybody jumping on this evening and spending some time with us. Apologize for our discrepancies going into this thing and out of our control, but we got through it, so appreciate you sticking around. We'll be on the water this weekend through the week, as should you. Post your pictures on our social media, on our Facebook page. Tag us on your Instagram. Let us be part of what it is you got going on. Jump over to our webpage, www.fishhuntnw.com. Check out what we have going on there, blogs, video links to all of our videos, past how-tos, and all the things we have going. Not to mention our merchandise store. Everything is still 20% off, so do yourself a favor and get some hoodies before they're all gone. The weather's turning, it's getting cold. Time to put a hoodie on and go fishing. All right, have a great weekend, everybody. Have a great weekend. We'll see you here next week, Thursday night, 6 p.m., right here at Fish Hunt Northwest.